we all today? Welcome to Dee Talk live on Thursdays. How is everybody going? What are we all doing? Hello to everybody out there that consistently supports us on all our platforms, on all our pages. We're doing things a little different this time. I hope everybody is doing really, really well and you have enjoyed your day and you're about to have a fabulous night as well. So today we talk about some controversial topics as well as topics that have been brought to our attention by our supporters, our friends, our followers, people that just love and adore us as much as we do. There was a question brought up last week by a friend of mine who's wanting us to talk about age discrimination, but in a sense where, let's just say, with what's actually happened in our society at the moment, so the COVID and the fact that the economic crisis needed to be restructured and people were losing their jobs and things were happening, he wanted me to take sort of that angle. But I tweaked it and I thought we'd go across the whole demographic, so to make it a little bit more interesting, because this issue has been a common issue for years, especially the years that I've worked in retail as well. It was a common denominator. And also while I was in journalism for that many years as well. So the common problem within terms of society is there's a specified age margin, a bracket, where you have to meet a specific criteria in order to be offered a job or even considered for one. So that's why I thought we'd go into the context of ageism. So does age, discrimination still exist? Is it still a problem in society? Which I believe it is, because there are so many people that do not want to retire at a specific ages yet because they're not ready, or maybe they don't want to take up gardening so earlier on in their lives, or the younger generation, they just want to get out there and start working and get that experience that they're not given or they haven't been given yet, in order to make that foothold, that first step in their lives where they're able to start a career path for themselves. So that's what today's topic is about. And what types of issues do they face? What types of specific ideas do people have about them, and why it's that gender? So it's that age gender. So it's either you're too young or you're too old. So it's not the in-between, because the in-between hasn't reached the too old, or obviously has gone past the too young, right? So a lot of the times it's when you get to that age and you're too old, you're not given another chance to get that promotion, to be seen as climbing up that ladder for another how many years, because they don't want to give that position to someone that they have to spend a little bit more money on, right? They'd rather go the younger side of things, but the person that's still got the experience, that still has just started their career, that's not way out the door, or, according to them, obviously, not me. It really depends on the company, because so many organizations are like that. Or the younger, for example. So in my line of work, so in fashion retail, we always used to ask, the younger generation, or the girls that were coming in for jobs and the guys that were coming in for jobs, that, if they had the experience that they needed, because obviously it was easier for us to train them. Otherwise, you have to train them from scratch. But then other places, so other organizations, they'd rather offer you that type of training because you're training them the way that you want them to learn and you want them to do things your way, right? So hence why people do that. And that's what we used to do. So I used to give them a chance. We used to give them a chance. Even so, they would have had some form of training, but they would have needed a little bit, like at least a little bit, in order to take it to the next level, to the next step where they were able to flourish and grow and become dynamic sales assistants, yeah? So, and that's where confidence comes into it and key. So that's what this issue is about. It's about how it's affecting society, because there are so many people that just want to get out there and they just want a job. They just want to be given a chance. And then there are others that, want to keep on going on this journey because they don't want to stop working, and they do still want to be considered by people as being indispensable, undestructible. Like these words are so powerful that they can't be replaced, irreplaceable as well, yeah? So these are the things that we're going to delve into on tonight's Dee Talk Live on this topic. How is everybody? Hello. Thank you for joining me tonight. So I've actually documented a few statistics and researched a lot, and a few of the things that I'm about to say might shock a few of you. They might surprise a few of you, or not even. Like it might just be like, okay, yeah, we knew that, or but I just thought these were very interesting in regards to this topic. So this one was taken from Wikipedia, and it's pretty much saying, because I'm not sure in Australia at the moment if we've actually passed laws that restrict the age discrimination at the moment here in Australia. I'm pretty sure that America has, right? So, and this is where it's taken from. So in the United States, all states have passed laws that restrict age discrimination. And age discrimination is restricted under federal laws such as Age Discrimination in Employment Act of 1967. So ADEA, right? So that's when they first passed it. So they passed it a long time ago. I'm not too sure if we have done that here in Australia, but it's something for us to think about, obviously. If we have, that's great. I wasn't able to find much on Australia. And there was also, if no one knows, actually, you know what? I'm going to define what age discrimination is, because not a lot of people, actually ageism, what it is. Age discrimination goes hand in hand, obviously. So it's the mere depiction of what ageism is. So this was taken from the verywellmind.com website. And it pretty much says ageism is a type of discrimination that involves prejudice against people based on their age. So similar to racism, sexism, ageism involves holding negative stereotypes about people of different ages. So younger adults, so this is where the demographic plays a specific part, right? And pretty much detriments it towards the older demographic. So it's pretty much the young against the old. But remember, we've both been there, or I haven't as yet, but I'm getting there. So please don't, push discrimination against the old, because you'll be there one day too, right? Exactly. So younger adults may have difficulty finding jobs and receive lower pay due to their personal lack of experience, while older adults may have problems achieving promotions, finding new work, and changing careers because they're classified as being too old. So it's the complete opposite. While the younger demographic, obviously, will find it harder because their experience levels aren't as matured, or they don't have enough in order to bring what it is that this company needs to the table, right? Okay? Now, the stereotypes that contribute to ageism by the younger individuals are as follows. This was specifically researched by Suzanne Fisk, and it pretty much goes into about older people often relate to younger people, expect them to behave. So these are the specific ideals. This is how they're categorized, right? So the first stereotype she describes relates to succession. Younger people often assume that older individuals have had their turn and should make way for the younger generations. Eventually, this happens anyway, it's part of it. It's the law of attraction, yeah? At one stage in our lives, we get over it and we're like, you know what, I've had enough, I want to retire. So then what happens? The younger person steps in. So we give that person that chance to thrive, to build, to be amazing, right? Okay? The second stereotype relates to what Fisk refers to as consumption. So younger people frequently feel that limited resources should be spent on themselves rather than the older adults, right? So your time is done, it's my turn now, so let me just do me and don't worry about you. No, we are humans at the end of the day. Everybody should give everybody a chance regardless of their age, sex, gender, whatever it is, right? Ageism is somewhat like what I referred to before in regards to sexism, racism, yeah? So equal opportunities, right? This is where it comes down to it. I get some people might be older or some people might be younger. Give them a chance. You don't know what they might be able to bring to the table, right? It's always about having a go and giving people a go. And that's what I believe, right? So the next one is, finding young people also hold stereotypes about identity of older adults. So younger people feel that those who are older than they should act their age and not try to steal the identities of younger people, including things such as speech patterns and manner of dress, right? And this is why I go into saying about, you know, fashion and dressing like mutton, you know, dressed in lamb. But there's nothing wrong with that either. If that's how a person wants to express the way that they want to be perceived and seen, right? Another thing is the slang. The slang has changed so much, the way we express, the way we use our language, and we're able to speak and communicate to somebody. So much of this has changed throughout generations, and new words have been created as the years go by and the generations change. That's why these generations are so exciting, especially the younger ones coming, because they're evolving like we did. We evolved at that time as well. Like, we had so many key words and key phrases in order to express ourselves and describe something. They were like these hidden little words that people weren't able to fathom because they didn't know what we were talking about. Like us now, when we don't know what these kids are talking about half the time because they use the secret language of slang, right? So that's where they're saying they've got the problem of the way that we dress, but why is she dressed like that? She shouldn't be like that. She should dress her age, right? So this is a generation like we were, where we used to hold the same ideologies throughout society, and as we went forward, we were able to express this, right? And we were able to push it out as a demographic and say, you know what? So this is how I was, this is how they are, but they're really exactly the same. It's just generations have changed really because of social media. Because as a young individual and an adolescent, you share the same ideologies you would have, but yours would have been quite different because each generation is different and everything that we learn is different, right? Because they get tweaked as the years go on and on and on, which is really interesting though, right? And that's why this topic was so great to put out there, because it's the fact that it still does happen. Ageism does happen, you know, and it's part of the discriminatory thing like that you know, people do, you know, on the street and stuff. Like, and when you see, oh, that's an old man, or, you know, like other people I'm talking about, I'm giving it as an example, right? So just how common is ageism? So researchers have also found that ageism is surprisingly commonplace, right? Hello, we didn't know that one. In one study published in the 2013 issue of the Gerontologist, researchers looked at how older people were represented in Facebook groups. Listen to this. This is amazing, right? They found 84 groups devoted to the topic of older adults, but most of these groups had been created by people in their 20s. Do you believe this? Right? Nearly 75% of the groups existed to criticize older people, and nearly 40% advocated banning them from activities such as driving and shopping. I get that some of these older individuals have come to the point where they're at a stage in their lives where they're not able to do specific things, right? But it's not always the case. Like, that's why they get tested for specific things. We can't be someone or the people to judge them, you know? That's got to be done by, you know, a medical professional. You just can't, oh, you know, because he's too old to drive, or she's, you know, she can't do this. Obviously, if their life is detrimental and you can see that the person is sick and blah, 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 and they're driving, okay, then we have a point there. But we have no right to sit there and, you know, put this point across where, you know, she can do this, he can't do that, they can do this, they can't do that, you know, like, it's all got to do with, you know, a professional opinion at the end of the day, which I thought was really interesting. So older adults also feel the impact of this discrimination in the workplace, which is what I was specifically speaking about, sorry. According to the US Equal Opportunity Commission, almost a quarter of all claims filled by workers are related to age-based discrimination. Hence why they created that act in 1967, right? So basically, it is a serious issue that needs to be addressed, and it's something that, you know, it should be treated exactly as the sex, the race, the disability side of things as well, because it's like you're putting a person in a box and saying, you stay there, you don't deserve to, you know, have free will or live or, you know, do what you want to do, you know, because for us as individuals, for us as, you know, humans, what we love doing is keeping busy. I know for me, like, that's 110% what I want to be doing. When you have a job or when you have something that you love doing, it just keeps you so much more active. It keeps you so much more happier and alive. You know, that bit of you cannot just be taken away because people feel as though you're unfit or unequipped to actually go ahead and do something like that, or to go back to work, or, you know, be given a promotion. And if you're in a position like this at the moment, find something that makes you happy. Go out there and maybe start something, start a hobby, do something that will make the mind work, so you're able to experience and have that inspiration again and be able to be driven by what you love doing, because it's part of our everyday routine. We get up, we wake up, and we've got a routine, we've got a schedule we go by, which makes you feel great, and it puts us into perspective about living life and doing what we have to do and being excited about being, you know, able to breathe this beautiful air and getting out there and doing what we love. That's why I always stress with saying, go out there and do what you love doing, regardless of what other people think or, you know, say about you or write about you, or, you know, at the end of the day, stand in your own sovereignty, which is what I've said, you know, like, it's you. So if you're given the option to have a job, or to, you know, really appreciate it, because it's part of your lesson, it's part of the journey as well, and it's unbelievable, you know. Need to do things we love to keep us younger. Well, of course, Jimmy, like, it's part of that whole ideology behind it. You know, you can't just sit there and feel sorry for yourself and say, you know what, I'm not, you know, qualified for this, or I'm not being given a chance. Maybe it's a sign though. Maybe it's a sign from the universe telling you, you know what, maybe you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. Because every time I used to go for a job, I remember, I was never given the opportunity that I thought that I deserved and I wanted. But then in reality, it was never really for me. It was never what was supposed to be for me, because obviously bigger and better things were coming for me, right? So we always have to look at it on the bright side and keep on soldiering on and keep on putting our focus towards what's really important, and that's to make us happy. We're not here to judge anyone, and we shouldn't judge anybody, especially in regards to their age and, you know, discriminating them because they're not qualified, or they don't have this, or they don't have that. It goes in both ways. The younger against the older. Remember, youngies, the older used to be young like you, like me. I know what you're feeling. It's like no one gives you, you know, the time of day. They don't give you a break. But then when you get older, you're going to go through the same sort of things, because they're going to think you're just too overqualified and you've got so much going for you already. So try and make it work for you either way. Ta-da. Thank you again for joining me tonight on Dee Talk Live. That's it for us again for another amazing Thursday night on Dee Talk Live. Thank you to everyone who consistently supports us, gives us their love. And yeah, let me know if you guys want me to talk about anything like my friend did, which I really appreciate that he did, because it brought up an even bigger topic that we needed to discuss tonight. And I'm sure I'll see you guys soon. Much love and blessings to everybody. Have a fantastic night. And I will see you guys soon on